Hey everyone, it's Gary here from Echidna Sewing. Today we're going to be taking a closer look at the embroidery features on the Brother Luminaire XP3 machine. So this is a challenging task for me, guys, because the features on the Luminaire are just mind-blowing, and I'm going to try and go through some of the key embroidery features on this machine in a relatively short period of time, but truthfully it could take me hours if I want to go through everything. Absolutely remarkable technology, and when you consider the Luminaire has been around now since 2018, this is the model XP3, this is the latest version, and some of the most recent features that came out on this machine are just stunning. So, of course, before I get into it, if you have a Luminaire XP1 or an XP2, you can upgrade to the XP3 and get all the same features. It's just incredible. So let's dig into it. And one of the first things I want to talk about is it's a stunning looking machine, right? So they say beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but these are just a stunning looking machine. From a proportions point of view, obviously all the top of the range machines on the market are big. This is a pretty big machine, very, very heavy duty, beautifully made, and that's what Brother is so famous for, the quality of their build, their design. Most importantly though, the user friendliness of it. So when we have a close look at the screen, you'll see what I mean there. Beautiful big screen here. This is like the size of an iPad or a tablet, and really high resolution, so it's nice and easy to navigate around. But quickly, just again, looking at the key sort of scope of the machine, you've got a nice big accommodating area on top. That folds back. We can put our twin needle spool stand that comes with it up there. Very easy threading. Brother needle threading is just incredible, and there is no easier. It's just brilliant. You've also got very easy bobbin loading, very easy to change the needle plate on this machine. It's just a one-touch system there. Again, a big inviting machine. This is one of the longest or widest needle to arm ratios. So that gives you the ability to have nice big hoops. And we'll have a look at those in just a moment. But generally speaking, it's just a beautiful looking machine. Nice big buttons to use too. That's important. There's a lot of machines have little tiny weeny buttons here, and I can't even see some of them. They're so hard to look at and identify what they are. But these are nice and easy. So you start, stop buttons, reverse and press the foot up and down, etc. Nice and simple. Beautiful lighting on the machine. So it's very, very bright lighting. No matter what workplace you're in, you'll be able to see what you're actually doing. And just all in all, great looking machine. So let's grab the hoops and have a look at what comes with it. Perhaps the most common question we get when people are looking at their next embroidery machine is, what size are the hoops? And that's a fair call, because hoops vary from machine, and usually the bigger the hoop, the more expensive the machine. That's pretty much how it goes. So let's have a look at what comes with this machine. Obviously, you've got your small 100 by 100 hoop as standard, and don't ever think you don't need this guy. I tell you, you'll use the 100 by 100 all the time, and sometimes some machines on the market don't come with a hoop this small, and it really is limiting, and there's projects that you just can't do if you don't have a hoop of that caliber. Perhaps the most commonly used hoop of the lot is the standard 5 by 7 or 180 by 130, and that's standard in the box. The machine also comes with this guy here, the 272 by 272, or 10 5/8 by 10 5/8 if you're going to go the inches route. Really, really nice size hoop, and that gives you a nice big square embroidery area of, as I said, right up to 10 5/8 inches. And this is one with the easy release locking system here, so that's nice and simple to use, and really, really popular hoop. So we've got that one comes with it, but the big daddy is this one. So let's have a look at this guy. So that's the full size massive hoop that is standard with the machine. 272 by 408, and these hoops do have the numbers on them, so you can actually tell what they are. Again, with the easy locking system, and they also have the rubberized insert down the side here. Hopefully camera guy can get that, and that just helps hold the fabric better in place, because as you know, if you've been embroidering for a long time, the bigger the hoop, the more chance you have of fabric movement, pull and push, and all sorts of things that go on while you're embroidering. So beautiful big hoops. Now, they're standard, and there's also a whole heap of extra Brother hoops that you can get to complement those, both standard types of hoops. And one of the most popular hoops in the market at the moment is the new Brother magnetic frames. This is the very latest one, and this is the 10 5/8, I think, by 10 5/8, so same as one of the other sizes, but it is the magnetic system. And these, I'll just pull one of these off here. They're very strong. Whoops, dropping everything there. Now what makes these unique is they actually have a V-shape metal frame on here, and the magnets are V-shaped as well. So when these are put in place, they really hold the thickness and the fabric that you will quilt block, whatever you're doing, hold it brilliantly. And there's a lot of other great features these hoops relate to. They're not standard in the box, but honestly, if you're going to get a Luminaire, definitely worth getting one of these as well. There's two sizes, this one, and there's also a longer sash frame, and all that information's on our website. We're going to hoop up something a little later on with this and show you how good that is, but those magnets are quite strong and won't damage the machine in any way, shape or form. They're designed to work with this machine, so you can buy them with confidence. And there's all sorts of stories about magnets and sewing machines. These days, modern machines are not going to be affected by it at all. And this is a genuine Brother product, so clearly it's going to work perfectly. The other sort of frame or thing you get in the box with this machine is the scanning frame, because the Luminaire has all that magic My Design Center scanning capability, along with a lot of other wonderful things, which I'm going to dig into as well. But that's standard in the box, and we'll touch on that a little later. So that's the standard hoops. Let's now have a closer look at what's on the screen. Now, I said right at the start, we're going to look at some of the key features on this machine. And one of the key things on embroidery machines is design placement. And that's where Brother is just amazing. The features they have for getting your design placement right are incredible. Now, if you've had an embroidery machine before, you know what I'm talking about. It can be complicated. You hoop up, then you unhoop, and you hoop again just to make sure that everything's right. So we're going to dig into the screen, and what I am going to do though is show you first the new stylus that comes with the version 3 upgrade. This is it here, and it's if you've got an existing Luminaire, then this will be included in the upgrade kit, but obviously it comes included with the XP3. So we'll just touch that screen, get out of the screensaver. We'll go straight into embroidery mode, because that's what we're talking about here. And there we go, we've got this lovely big screen here. And we'll sort of touch on a lot of things on the screen as we go through the next little bit. But right now I want to talk about design placement, and one of the, I think, the most amazing features that ever came out in our industry, and still, I think, to this day, an exclusive Brother feature. So, prefacing that, let's talk about this. I'm using here, just for the sake of the demonstration, one of the new magnetic frames. Again, this is not a standard frame on the machine. It is the 130 by 180 magnetic frame, and I've got the little magnets all in place here. Just a bit of fabric with stabilizer. And the reason I'm using this is it's just nice and clean and easy to see through the camera. We haven't got fabric sitting everywhere. Nice and easy for you guys to follow. But if I wanted to stitch a design on here, in the old days particularly, or on most other machines, I would probably take one of my marking pens. I'll use this friction pen, and let's just say I've already marked on my fabric where I want my design to stitch, and I'm going to particularly mark this off center and explain my logic there. So we'll just take this mark here, and often we would mark our fabric with that. This is a wash away pen, or a friction pen rather. And I might want my design to stitch in that orientation. So if you've embroidered before, you know what I'm talking about. That's the center of my design, and that's the angle that we want it to stitch on. Now, what you would do on most machines at this point is, if that's where you wanted your design to stitch, you would take this fabric, move it so that that is right in the center, and the cross is centered as well, vertically and horizontally. And that's not so hard, but it's not always that easy to get a perfect alignment, and particularly hard if the fabric that you're working on is a smaller piece, and if you would move that to the center or square it up, you may not capture all the fabric in the hoop. So that can be a challenge, and sometimes a challenge if you're hooping up an item that's got a heavy seam in the way or something like that. It can be difficult. So what we do on this machine, and I love this feature, and I remember when I first saw this, when it was released, my jaw just hit the ground. I thought, that is so cool. After 40 years in this industry, to see new technology is always wonderful. So these machines come with what we call the design placement stickers, or sometimes referred to as snowman stickers. And you get, I think 5 sheets of these with the machine. And all we do on the Brother machine is we grab one of these little stickers, which can be reused over and over. So they last a long time. And if I just hold that sticker, I'll explain this. there's our little snowman. That's the snowman standing upright as you would expect him to be. Now, if I know that my design is going to go on that orientation, all I've got to do with that snowman sticker is position it where I want my design to stitch, line it up like that. So let's pop the hoop in the machine and then we'll choose a design. Now, the good thing about these hoops, they just slide on, and when you put a hoop on these machines, the machine will know exactly what hoop you're using. So you're not going to run into any strife of hitting hoops or anything crazy like that. Now, I'm going to use a cute little Disney design. This is a Disney machine, loads of amazing Disney characters in here, and of course they're all licensed for you to use them. So you can knock yourself out with Disney. I'm going to grab the little Minnie Mouse there. Now, before I do, you can scroll along here. One of the things that's really nice is you can actually also have a better view of the page. So I've just expanded that option there, and that lets me see what's in that folder, and then you'll see there's even more designs, lots and lots of great designs, but we'll come back. Just choose our Minnie Mouse, go back to here. There it is, that's the one I want. Set, and what I'm going to do now is just go straight to embroidery. Now, of course, the design comes up to sew right in the middle, and that's not where we want it to sew. We want it to sew on that slight angle where I put that little snowman sticker. And all I have to do, this is magic, if you blink you'll miss it, hit the layout button and hit the little snowman button and go OK, and watch the magic. It's going to, I've left it on the center position because I know that's my reference point. That's where I put my snowman sticker, and that's what you'll do most of the time. If I hit the scan button now and OK, we just let the machine work its magic. Watch this. So there you go. It now says remove the embroidery positioning mark. So it's positioned the design exactly where it needs to be because it found the little embroidery positioning mark. And if I hit this button, that just relieves the hoop a little bit for me. It lets me take the positioning sticker off. So the snowman technology dates back, believe it or not, to 2008 when the Brother Quattro came out, and it's just revolutionary back then. And to be honest, it's still revolutionary because it's just so easy to use. So the design is perfectly positioned, and I could stitch that now. I know it's going to be right. In fact, if you have a look on screen here, you'll see the design has been repositioned exactly where it needs to be, and you can see that it's been turned around to the angle that we had the snowman sticker set at. Now that's one way to set the design on the Luminaire, but there's also the magic of the Stitch Vision projection system. So it actually has the ability to project the image onto the screen. So I'll leave it where it all is, and you watch this. If we touch this little button here, which is the projector button, I'll just click on that. It takes a moment. It's now going to turn on a projection system which will project the image of the design exactly where it's about to stitch. This little red box on screen is the field of view for the camera. And if I now move that, I'm just going to move that up a little bit further so as I can get the whole image for you to see. And if we take a look on the fabric, you can see right now that Minnie Mouse is projected directly where it's going to stitch. So if you are the sort of person that you're just a visual person and you like to see what's about to happen, nothing beats this technology. Absolutely incredible. That's exactly where Minnie's going to stitch. And I know it's going to be right. So in other words, if you wanted to move that design around and you wanted to line it up with some on-printed fabric, or you've already got a design stitched out and you want to line something else up, what you see is what you're going to get. It's that simple. And that's the Stitch Vision technology. Amazing, amazing technology. So now that's all done, to go back to embroidery mode, all I've got to do is click the OK button. And here we are. It's telling me what colors I need to use. Up here it tells me the size of the design, the number of stitches, the number of colors, and how long it's going to stitch. All great information on the screen, and we'd be right to hit go. I don't need to stitch that design out now. What I do want to do is get in and show you some of the other cool features on this amazing machine. So loaded with features and of course loaded with designs. So you've got over 1,500 built-in designs in this machine. If we just click on the embroidery tab there and touch menu number one, you've got all these sub-menus. And as you click on these, that will actually show you a whole list of more menus, or more designs. And you can expand those and have a look at that whole menu if you like. Come back down here and just move across, choose whatever menu you want to look at, and including some really, really big designs and kind of cute designs as well. So no shortage of inspiration to get your projects going. But of course, you can use designs from any source you want. If you buy a lot online or do whatever you do, there's hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of designs. You can create your own designs, of course, and we're going to show you how you can do that on the machine in a few moments. But it's an easy screen to navigate around. Now, of course, it also has a load of other key features that have been introduced recently. One of them is, let's have a look at this. You've got your continuous quilt border options. You've got now the ability to create edge-to-edge quilting, and absolutely stunning. Now we'll do different videos on those because that takes you into a whole another world of amazing creativity. Again, the most important thing is nice and easy to navigate around. So loaded with features, but perhaps my favorite feature on the Luminaire and a lot of the top of the range Brother machines is what we call the My Design Center app that's built into the machine. Now the Luminaire is not the only machine with My Design Center in the Brother range. There are others in the range, but this is the one that has the most capability. And before I dig into it, I'm going to show you something and give you a bit of an idea of the scope that it has. So this is a fairly old sample quilt that we've had here for ages, and what you're looking at here is some of the standard quilt backgrounds that are featured in My Design Center. And we've simply made this as a bit of a sampler so we can sort of highlight it quickly. But each of these backgrounds is an automatic quilting background that the machine can fill in automatically and make it shape around designs and certain sizes, whatever you want to do. And we can even scale the size of the actual design itself. So if we want those flowers to be a bit smaller or bigger, they can be within that block. Really, really simple. And so without any further ado, I'm going to load a design and I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a quilt block using a built-in design. Might use one of the Disney princesses, and we're going to then automatically quilt around it. And when I say that, I can do it either by stippling or echoing or using one of these incredible quilt blocks that we have. So pretty simple process. Let's go in. I'm going to choose first we'll get a Disney princess because we've got a project on our website for creating these blocks and using Disney princesses. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. We can take any one we like. We'll just take this one here. I'm not really up on the Disney princesses. I don't quite know which one that is, but someone can tell me. And if we now hit set, we've now loaded the Disney princess. And if I hit the edit button, I've got a button down here to automatically quilt around it. Now, it will automatically allow us to choose a hoop size, whatever we want to do. Right now, I'll just go through these three buttons here. So I can choose to be a stipple. So it will automatically stipple and I can change the space of the stippling. So I'm going to move to a different hoop size. And I've been using the stylus. You don't need to use the stylus on these machines. You're quite okay to use your fingers. In fact, I personally prefer to use my finger on the screen. So I want to go to a smaller, I didn't want to go that small. I'm going to go to the hoop size just below that. So this is the 272 by 272 hoop. Now, I've also got the ability to tell the machine how far I want to stitch from the design that I have selected. So I'm going to take that out to about 2 millimeters. Let's go to there. That's going to do me. And I could then set the spacing. That's a fairly open stipple, but if I make that smaller, it will all recalculate and you'll see the result I've got there, just a smaller stipple. That's perfect stippling. And all I've got to do is hit OK and start embroidering. However, I can also make it an echo quilt. So I've got the ability to set that. It takes a little bit of processing, but there we go. We've got a lovely echo quilt option going on there. But the big one, the one that I'm so excited about is this one here. And then I can hit the select button and I have all these amazing background quilt options to choose. And whichever one I select, if we want, I don't know, we'll go with that one down there. Click OK. It will automatically apply that around the design. And I can even size it. So if we wanted to scale the type of, or the size of the actual pattern itself, you can see I've made that a lot bigger. And if I wanted more space around the princess, I can go right out to 5 millimeters thereabouts. Well, 4.2, doesn't matter, just to show you this. It's so quick, it's so easy. And at that point, if I'm ready to stitch this, all I've got to do is click OK, embroidery, and we're good to go. So that's using a simple design, one of the built-in designs, created a quick quilt block. It was very simple and super easy. But imagine you've got an illustration, your own drawing, maybe a child's drawing, and you want to turn that into stitches, and then you want to quilt around it and create a unique block or quilt or bedspread, whatever it is you're wanting to do. It's just so easy, and you don't need to use a computer to do it. It's all done on the machine. So I do happen to have a picture on my phone that my granddaughter drew, and I'm just going to pull that up on screen here. Open my Brother My Design Snap app, and I'm going to, hopefully camera guy can see this. I'll try and keep it still. Select an image. There it is. That's in my photos. That's the image I want to stitch. It's a fun little line drawing. I'm in there somewhere. There's Granddad in the middle. And I now want to send that to the machine. Now, I've already got my machine hooked up to my Wi-Fi. My phone's on the same Wi-Fi. So if I now hit send to machine, it will go to the machine. There it goes, sent to my design center. Okay, I'm finished with my phone now. I don't need it again. And what I might do is we'll just get right out of this. We'll go straight back to the home screen. And I'm going to go into my design center. And at this point, I want to bring in the image that I just sent to the machine. So I just click on this button here. I know it was a line design, so I'm just going to say line design. That's all it was. And it's coming from the Wi-Fi. It'll be the most recent one we just popped in there. And there it is. It'll take a little while because it's quite a big image. But if I didn't have it on my phone as a picture, I could have just taken the drawing that my granddaughter did, pop it on my scanning mat, pop that in the machine, and the machine would have scanned it and given me exactly the same result. So if you're not, the smartphone type of person or Wi-Fi type of person, you don't need the Wi-Fi. You can do it using the mat that's provided with the machine. So there's the image I want. If I click set, it will now come into my design center. I've got the ability to crop this a little bit, and I'm going to. This is where I find the stylus is a little bit more handy because it's more detailed than my finger, but I can now just move that in and crop away whatever I don't need. And really, really easy. That's going to be fine, and we'll just take that down. Hopefully I'm not in the way of the camera. My big head tends to get in the way sometimes. There we go. That will do me. And I can, we might just pull that up a little bit this way as well. I'll get that bottom section gone there. So I've cropped that down nicely. Click OK. And now the machine will leave what it sees there, which is pretty good. Got a little bit of a line here I don't want. That's okay. I can get rid of that in a minute. Just hit set. It's still thinking. There we go. Now, what it's done now is it's converted that into a line drawing that it can understand. And I can actually turn off the background so I can see exactly what the machine is looking at there now. And I can see there's a little tiny bit of stitching there I don't want. And so I can get my eraser tool and I can just erase that bit just by rubbing it out just there. And I think that was the only bit that I didn't want. So if I now click OK to that, and I want to turn that into a fun run stitch or a triple run stitch, I'll just go next. And I don't want it as a satin stitch because that's what it defaults to. So I'm just going to link all those things together, choose a triple run stitch, and I'm going to change it to red. So that just verifies to me that it's all made the changes that I want it to make. It'll go from black to red. Okay again. So it's still doing a little bit of thinking there. And that is all done. I'm happy with that. Let's hit the set button. Okay. And if I go to embroidery mode, there it is. That's now ready to stitch. So that's quite a unique design. If I hit my layout button and my move button, I can center that design in the hoop and click OK. If I wanted to resize it a bit too, I could just hit the return button. Let's go back there. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, in fact. And this is one of the cool features on the Luminaire and a lot of the Brother machines is if I resize that, I can resize it with stitch recalculation. So I'm just going to make that a wee bit smaller because I am going to sew that in the hoop that I have selected. So we'll go about that size. Click OK. Right, so I've got my design. Now I'm going to add some stippling, and all I've got to do is click on the stipple button there, and you can see I've got stippling, echo quilting, or selecting a really cool background fill that we have, but I'm going to leave this as a stipple. And what I'm going to do is choose the hoop that I want, and I've got that lovely 254 by 254 magnetic frame that we're going to use. And I'm going to choose that one, so 254 by 254. And I do want to get some distance around the design because you can see all my stippling is going right in the little sort of nooks and crannies there. I don't want that because I want to sort of have that design popping a little bit within the stippling. So I'm going to hold that distance right out to about 6 millimeters because that will ensure that I get the result that I'm looking for. It's really simple. And of course, the big thing is if you do something and you don't like what you've done, you can just undo it and go back and do it again. So there, that's exactly what I'm looking for. I've got a nice big stipple there. I'm really happy with that. If I click OK, I'm not worried about the colors because I'll choose the threads I want and go to embroidery mode. We are good to go. So let's have a look at the quilt, what we're going to embroider on. And I've got the this magnificent magnetic frame here. And these guys are great. So very easy to work with. I've got a decent sort of quilt sandwich in here. We've got fabric, we've got some interfacing in there as well as some batting. So it's quite thick, but being held beautifully by the hoop. And in order to get that on, all I've got to do is slide that in. And I know my bobbin was filled, so that's fine. And now the carriage is going to move. Now, first colour is the drawing that my granddaughter did, and I'm actually going to use this red colour, but I'm using the Hemingworth spool of thread. Of course, I love these spools. They've got the cap on them and this handy little sort of plug up here that stops it from unravelling. So take that off. Now, one of the beautiful things about the Hemingworth spool is I leave the cap on, and while I can sort of put it onto the little spindle there, I can also just stand it on the top of the machine, and there's adequate space up here to stand your threads. So because the cap system makes it easy to deliver, you don't need to lay it down sideways or anything. So we just follow the numbers. It's really simple. Hopefully I won't get in the way. Up through there, into number 4, down through to number 5 and 6. And then you've got this little sort of threading path there. And then you just cut that off and just hit the auto threading button and it is done. How simple is that? Gotta love it. So all we've got to do now is hit the go button. So, see you soon. So there we are. That has stitched out pretty quickly when you can fast forward it on the camera. We just take that hoop off, and that is really true to artwork. That's exactly the same as what the artwork was, and it was so simple. You just load it, tell it you want it as a running stitch, add a bit of stippling, and now I can take that panel out and put it into a project or something for another day, but really, really, really cool feature. You'd have to agree, right? So let's just get that out the way. So my design center is much more than that, of course, if we just click OK to that. There's another feature that's just been released in Luminaire XP3, which is called edge-to-edge quilting. And if I grab my little sample here, this is a very small sample, but it gives you an idea of what you can do. So hopefully Camera Guy can get this. This is perfectly aligned and a continuous quilt function. And we could actually make this right up to a king or a queen size quilt. And because, you know, let's face it, if you want to do some large quilts, not everyone has the space to put a big long arm quilter in their home or the skill to use a long arm quilter, of course. But this does it all automatically and has 10 built-in quilt designs in the machine. And as I said, you can make it really, really big. And it uses the projector system and the positioning functions built into the machine to get it perfect. Now I'm going to quickly show you how we actually started, how we got that file set up. We just go back to home and we'll go into embroidery and I'll go down to my quilting function. So not only do we have the new one, which is edge-to-edge quilting, but we also have automatic borders, quilt borders that again use the positioning functions and the data or the projection system to get it perfectly lined up. But let's just have a look at this one here. Now I can tell you this pattern was using this one here. There it is. And once I hit set, all I've got to do is tell the machine what size I want. Now, for example, this is around 500 by, I think, around just over 1.2 meters. So, example, if I want it in the length I just simply pop my number in there. So I think it's about 1200, set. And then my width is about 50 or 500, set. And my hoop that I would use on this one was probably have been this this large one here. No, I think we did it with the magnetic frame, the one I just used. So we just choose the frame and then hit next. And now it tells me there's 33 different hoopings, and it actually creates all the files for you. So once I hit memory, and I can choose single run stitch or triple run stitch. Once I hit memory, it saves it, and I can now go open the design that I just created, which is that one there, and it will, and I select it there, and it will now tell me what to do. So if I hit set, it comes up on screen here and tells me exactly what to do. So begin sewing from the upper left corner. So you'll put your fabric in, you'll follow all the on-screen instructions, and it will just simply go through and make that perfectly aligned. And if you have a close look at this, it's just hard to see where the joins are, but there are joints in there, and that's what makes it so good. You can make any size hoop or quilt you want. Now, of course, this is the other side, and beautifully matched color thread, but there's the image on the front. Absolutely perfect. So edge-to-edge quilting is something that's new in XP3. And again, if you have XP1 or 2 and you get the upgrade, you will get those new features as well. So we've covered a fair bit in a short time. So a couple of other new features on Luminaire 3, XP3, is the super large designs. Now, generally speaking, we're always restricted to the size of a design by the size of the hoop. And let's go in and have a look at these. So menu number 6. It actually has 5 really large designs that again uses the data projection system, or the image projection system, and the alignment tools to get perfect large designs. Some of these go right up to 720 by 380 millimeters. That is the biggest designs you could possibly imagine on any machine in the market, in the home market at the moment. So they're built in, and another new feature is these long stitch designs. So you might recall, I certainly recall when I was young, we had the string art that we used to create on nails and string and have these big long stitches. This is kind of like that. It's really cool, a very decorative effect for home furnishings, etc., and things that it's I guess something new and exciting, and it's an incredible technology, because when machines try to do really long stitches, that's one of the hardest things for a sewing machine to do. So what these do, the Luminaire, it actually recalculates all the tension and everything to make that work. So very, very clever technology on that there. And of course, you've got all your automatic buttonholes. There's menus and all sorts of menus there. And a big range of your standard utility stitches off the sewing machine are now introduced into the embroidery field as well. So that's kind of exciting. So that just adds another whole new dimension for you. Loads of lovely big built-in fonts and monograms that you can, I mean, I guess the thing is, you can do so much on this machine without having to go to a computer program, and I feel that's where a lot of people are very happy, because not everyone wants to learn how to digitize and use all the various computer programs that are out there. So loads of built-in fonts, shapes and borders, and of course we have the new there it is there, the new couching font. So it's a couching facility where it actually gives you a dimensional embroidery, and using wool or yarn, and I just think that just adds a whole new dimension to a home embroidery machine. So it just keeps going. It never stops. In fact, who knows what's going to come out next? But this is a bit of a rundown on the XP3. Again, just recapping, if you have an XP1 or an XP2, the upgrade will bring you up to the same specifications as this model. And keep an eye out for, or go and have a look at the other video that will partner this, and that is covering a few of the new features on the sewing side, or the sewing functionality on the XP3. And of course, just be a sponge. Whenever you can watch a video on whatever it is you're wanting to learn about, it's worth doing that, because there's so much good material out there these days, and it just continues to grow. So if you have any questions at all about this particular model, or anything else for that matter, please don't hesitate to contact us by the normal means, phone, email, messenger, however you want to do it, and we'll be able to help you and answer any questions you might have. So hope that's been a little bit helpful for you. That's the XP3, the Luminaire XP3, and until next time, happy embroidering.